All right. Thank you guys for looking out for me. I'm so glad it's people that I actually know in this group. So y'all are not judging me. Okay. So confession, this is the first time I'm actually presenting this particular class. So I apologize. We had some technical issues this morning trying to make sure everyone was in the room. And I kept going back and forth with Dennis to say, okay, did you send out the email? Did you make sure you sent out the email? But I'm not gonna wait anymore. We're just gonna get started and hopefully just try to repeat this again. But yeah, so you guys, welcome to Leading Boldly. Welcome to Leading Boldly. I've called this the Underdogs Guide to Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. That's what I've called this. Imposter syndrome is something that's very, very personal to me. It's a very personal topic to me, and I'm very, very happy and delighted to be doing this presentation to you guys or having this class with you guys. But I just want to set some expectations. We're going to be having this conversation for maybe another hour. Is that okay? Is that okay? We have a tiny group, so we could talk on a one-on-one basis. Ade-Mabo, Matilda, and Irena, say, y'all okay?
Yeah, that's okay with me.
We're good? Okay, good. Okay. Because I really want to make sure that, we cover everything that we have to cover. So this is an Underdog's Guide to Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. And I'll share a little bit of a background. I know that I know all of you guys here personally, but yeah, okay, housekeeping. Put your phone on do not disturb, so that the husband, so that the kids, grab a notebook and a pen. So since it's just four of us, I'm going to try to make it as interactive as possible. I'm going to make sure that it's a class and you guys actually benefit from it. The whole idea for me behind doing this was really just to help folks who are struggling with struggling with showing up, really struggling with next level, struggling with just being the greatest version of yourself. So I struggled with this myself. So I know how much I have grown just by dealing with this one particular thing. So that's why I know that you're going to get a lot of value, especially if this is what you came for. Please write down any questions. In this case, you actually don't even need to write the questions. You can just stop me anytime and we can talk about it one-on-one. All right. Okay, so what to expect? We'll break down the psyche of why it's been tough to move forward despite what you know, and how smart you are, and how amazing you are, and how much knowledge you've got, really, and how much experience you've got, and you find that you're still struggling, you're still not able to move forward, you're still not able to just get past a certain level. We'll go through a step-by-step guide on how to go from unpaid to six figures in 90 days. This is not one of those aspire to perspire, inspire messages. So please keep your mind open, keep your hearts open. I know sometimes when people hear, and I know I used to be like that too, when people hear, oh, 6 figures, 90s, yeah, okay, here we go again with the claims and whatnot. But really, if I were to be completely honest, this is not about money. Getting rid of imposter syndrome or moving forward, for me, I don't know what y'all came for. Money is just one of the byproducts that happen when you start showing up intentionally, when you start showing up as the best version of yourself. It's not 100% about money. Money is just one of those byproducts. So if you're listening to me, you're going, he's great. I'm not really here for the money. I'm a professional. I'm not here for XYZ. It's okay. Whatever you want to get out of it, you will get out of it. Although I do talk a lot about money because you all know I'm an entrepreneur and it's important to make money. Yeah. We'll discuss some practical, actionable strategies to help shift your beliefs and show up as the highest version of yourself. The intention I had for the session was to make it extremely interactive where we can really talk, break down your limiting beliefs and how to deal with it. So please, y'all, maybe we can get comfortable with each other so you guys can build some level of trust. Matilda, Ade-Mabo, and Irena say. So if you guys are okay, if you guys feel the liberty in your spirit to, please go ahead and turn on your videos so I don't feel like I'm just talking to my blank slides here. So if you feel the liberty to, I'm not going to force you, I'm not going to make you do anything, but if you feel the liberty to, I would appreciate it if I could see your face. All right, so who am I? Period. I'm an ex-people pleaser. No need to even go through the other stuff because quite frankly, it does not matter. I only bring forward this slides to say that I'm someone who's gone from the back of the room to the front of the room, center stage, literally. And the only reason I mention this is because many times you find that people who suffer from imposter syndrome hide. They hide. Why? Because it's just easy, you know, it's just comfortable. It's easy. Why would I want to show myself? Why would I want to announce myself? Why would I want to be the loudest person in the room? Why would I want to go give my opinion on something on a media channel or on a stage or on why would I want anyone to even know who I am? Why can't I just be behind the scenes? Why can't I just hide and just make my money and be comfortable and be successful and move on? Why does anyone need to know about me? Why does anyone need to know who my kids are, who my dogs are? You know, why does anyone need to know that stuff? I just want to come, do what I got to do and go. And, you know, here's the thing, you know, while I was working on the material for this, to talk to us today, I was thinking about how many times we look at people who are bold, who are audacious, who have a huge personality, who put their hands up, and we think, be yay, Tammy, hi, hi, Tammy. We think that they have to be Tammy, please leave your video on, please. Thank you. We think that they have to be a certain personality type. Do you know what I mean? So my son goes to karate with a kid called George. Let me tell you what George calls himself. He actually calls himself Mr. George. And it blew my mind. I'm just like, yo, you're 10. First off, who calls himself Mr. George? Now, let me tell you something about Mr. George. Mr. George is Mr. George, funny, is a black belter, okay? It doesn't matter what's going on with Dara. Dara is my son. It doesn't matter what's going on with Dara. If, you know, if he's having a bad day, if he's, you know, throwing a hissy fit, or I don't know, he's not interested in being in karate that day and he's been difficult. Mr. George stops everything he's doing. Listen, this kid is about 10 or 11. Okay, he's not much older than Dara. He stops everything he's doing and comes to sit by my son, goes, "What's the problem? Are you okay? What can I do to make your day feel better?" And I'm just like, who is this kid? I want to meet your mom. What is going on? How did you get here? You know, how are you so bold? Like, Mr. George understands empathy and compassion. And it's not, I want to assume that most of us here are Nigerians. It's not the, you know, when you grow up with kids and you're like, oh, that one is a little too much. They're trying too much. This is a kid who approaches every child with such individual preference. You almost think, does he know them? Is this an adult walking in a child body? Like, he literally supervises the kids when the instructors are busy. This is Mr. George. And so every time, you know, I look at him, I'm always so fascinated, always so inspired by him, because he is helping out. He is helping the kids tie their belts when their belts fall off. He's helping the kids who don't feel good that day, you know, feel better about themselves. He's helping the kids, like my son who doesn't know how to do a push-up, go, "Come on, Dara, you can do it. Let's go, let's go, let's go." And I'm just like, wow, look at that. Now talk to me. In what language do you think Mr. George is ever going to feel not good about himself, or he's ever going to feel not qualified, or he's ever going to feel like he does not belong when he walks into a room? How do you think it's ever going to occur to him? And I'm when I say room, I'm not necessarily talking about something he's familiar with. I'm talking about even something he's not familiar with. Like, say you throw him in a science project and he's not a science kid. You think somebody like that would be ashamed to say, "Hey, ma'am, do you mind repeating yourself? Do you mind going over that again? Or here are my thoughts. You may not agree, but here's what I think about that." What you guys think? Do you think Mr. George is going to be more forward and is going to be more vulnerable about, "I don't know that"? Why? Because he's comfortable. He's comfortable taking on responsibility. He's comfortable being in a situation where he's helping other people. He's comfortable being in a situation where he's seen vulnerability in so many different shades, and he's just 10. Why am I saying this? I'm saying, where am I going to with this? A lot of us are not. Nobody here is 10. Nobody here is 20. Nobody, barely anybody here is 30. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, that ship has sailed. I didn't grow up a comfortable, a confident child. I didn't grow up a child who knew what to do. I didn't grow up a child who made my way around. What do I do now as an adult, who I still have those feelings, those thoughts? I still harbor things like, what are they thinking about me? Are they looking at me funny? Are they thinking I'm doing too much? Are they thinking I don't know what I'm doing? Here's the good news. You can turn that switch on and off like a button. Nobody told us this because our parents did not even know. And think about it, coupled up with cultural complications and all the other things going on in the backgrounds of our lives. No one tells you. You can just show up there and say, I don't know the answer. And it's okay to not know the answer. And it doesn't make you less off than the person who knows what they're doing, because it just means that they're an expert in that particular field and you are not. And it's okay to not be an expert at everything. Let me know if I've lost you guys or if you're still here with me. You guys, please, I need some sort of response. The tiny room. Either you're chatting with me or you're turning on your video or you're talking to me. All right, good, Ade-Mabo. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. So this is this. So for me, this was a big yeah, okay. This is a big thing for me, ever since like being, going to Dara's karate class and seeing this guy, and I just want to observe him. And last week, I think I met his mom and I was asking her, how, did you do anything? They don't even, they come from, I don't know, Eastern Europeans. So English is not even her first language. She could barely speak any English. So this has nothing to do with, we say things like, oh, well, I don't necessarily, English is not my first language, or I'm not mainstream, or I don't sound like that, or I have an accent. And we say all these different things to put ourselves down, and none of those hold water. So anyway, so I just wanted to, so the purpose of me presenting this slide is to say to you that I used to be the most, I don't want to use the word shy, because shy is not necessarily a horrible thing, but want to know what is? Timid is a horrible thing. I used to be the most timid child you ever met. When I say child, I mean even in my adult years. I would be the last person to say anything in the room. I didn't want anyone to know that I existed. In fact, if I was breathing too hard and you noticed me, I released and I excused myself so you didn't even know I was there. And I thought, well, let's let others go. Let's serve other people. Let's make sure everyone else is comfortable. I don't want to be noticed. I just want to be at the back of the room and just do my thing and go home. I don't want anyone to know that I'm here. And I thought, well, it's not going to hurt if you're just this quiet, shy, whatever kind of person. Well, wrong answer. Because how many of you have found out that in your careers, in your businesses, in wherever way, in whatever areas that you're leading, you find that the people who speak up are the ones who people assume they know what they're doing, they're smart enough, they can lead, they can take responsibility. You can leave them with big assets to manage. You can leave them with big teams to manage. Do I have any weaknesses in the house? And Ade-Mabo, I know you're a professional. Matilda, I think you're a business person and professional at the same time. Tammy, business. I know a few of you here. Dr. Fasai, I think you just walked in. I think I just seen you walk into room. Business. Melody. So y'all tell me if I'm going off here, or if if I am speaking your language, or if I'm going off, let me know, because I would like to.
I think I'll say speaking up is important. Um, and yeah, you find some people not speaking up, but I also think saying the right things. There's some things like putting forward what you want to say in a concise manner.
Mm,
Saying what addresses the topic in the room, not of. I think that's even
more important. Okay.
something more. But I think the first step is to speak up. But
Right.
I think going alongside that, because even if you speak up and it's not seen as leadership thoughts or something like that. I think it's better you didn't even say stuff. That's
Okay.
what I think. But I mean, I like to hear what any other person thinks.
It's so interesting that you say that. Now, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a follow-up question. I don't know if you know what's happening with President Trump nowadays. He's just been convicted of whatever crime it is. I don't care to know the
Yeah,
details.
I heard that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you should speak up in the wrong direction, or you should be the loudest one in the room and just say whatever, even if it doesn't make sense, just be noticed and just keep saying crap. But do you think, just in the light of what's going on in the world, and I mean, think about the C-level executives that you report to. I'm talking about specifically the ones that you're smarter than. Are they
Yeah.
always the ones who say the right things? Are they always the ones who are 100% sure of what they're saying before they speak up? Or are they the ones that are willing to be wrong, willing to be corrected, willing to say, you know what, I'm not 100% sure about this, or I may be wrong and I'm willing to be corrected? Who do you think you would notice more? Is it the person who's sitting down writing a thesis about their thought? Or is it the person who goes, you know what, I have an opinion on that?
Yeah, the person who says I have an opinion and who really believes in the opinion, surely.
Your opinion. Who speaks about it with conviction? Who speaks
Yes.
about it with certainty? It's not the one who is smart, but who's synthesizing, who is going over their thoughts, and you're like, okay, wait, let me just give you a PowerPoint presentation about it next week. No. As a business owner myself, as a decision maker, I'm not interested in your PowerPoint. I want to hear the person who has a solution right there on the spot, because by next week I would have made a decision already. And
I
I'm not
think the conversation piece is important too. Yeah, speak about it, even if it's not the most accurate, but you say it with a lot of conviction and something you are passionate about and really believe in.
you say with a lot of conviction, and in the world that we live in today, unfortunately, the people who even get ahead sometimes are not even the ones who are the smartest ones. I hear about C-level, corporate level white executives who have a thought. They have, some sort of something to deliver. They give it to the smartest person. Then they go ahead and do the presentation. And then someone puts up their hand in the room to say, you know what, sir, can you explain this phenomenon? And they're like, okay, give me a second. I don't know, let me get back to you next week. Why? Because you're not the ones who actually prepared the presentation. You're not the ones who actually even know what you're talking about, but they're the ones who have been packaged. They're the ones who look like they can take the company forward. They're the ones who speak properly. They're the ones who look like they're in a suit. They're the ones who look like they can be trusted with millions of dollars. But the person from Nigeria, the person from India, the person from Britain, the person from wherever, it's not an ethnic name, it's not a nationality thing. I'm just basically saying the person who has done the real work, who because of their overthinking, or who because of an accent, or who because of whatever thing that you're thinking about. In a Demis case now, I'm not to put you on the spot, but maybe they're saying to themselves, I don't just want to speak off point. I want to say something with precision and be concise and be sure and fact check before I raise up my hand to speak. Actually, the person who's packaged out there in front doesn't know everything. But when they're done presenting their points, they're able to go back and say, you know what? Let me get back to you next week. Let me have someone send you an email about this. Let me do some more research about this. But the actual person, maybe who knows what they're doing, is over there judging themselves. That's my experience, anyways. Matilda, you wanted to share something?
Yeah. I when I started my master's degree, the first month of my master's degree, my first the first few weeks, I wondered what was being said in class because those who were bold were honestly in Nigerian terms, they were yanning dust. But they were
Mm,
so bold. And then I had to ask another Nigerian that, did you hear these conversations? It's not correct. But they
mm,
were so bold about it and they felt very good. And after class, it was the people who knew better were not even talking. And I had to make my decision that day like, no, 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 I wouldn't let this keep going. And it feels like those who could speak better, those who could express themselves knew what they were saying until I started to make contributions and put things in perspective. So it looks like after a while, they would ask you, okay, so what do you think? Or if I don't, even when I don't have anything to say, or I don't even feel like saying anything, I would still be looked on to give quote and unquote like a final wrap up to what is being discussed because I had to speak up when
mm,
I told the other Nigerian that, see, we need to talk here. This is not correct. And they're saying it with so much boldness that it
right.
was very funny for me. And those are the kind of people really who get more opportunities, who get more work to do because it looks as if they know what they're saying, even
Right.
though what they're saying isn't correct.
And guess who's going to be valedictorian of the year? The person who spoke up, the person who appeared to be confident, the person who appeared to be charismatic. And I'll show you later down in our conversation why this has nothing to do with personality types. Like some people say, well, I'm an introvert. Someone else says, I'm not, I'm reserved, or I'm conserved, or I don't want to talk. Let's leave that for the extroverts. Actually, this is not a personality situation. I know, you and I know a whole lot of leaders who are not extroverts at all. They're not extroverted, but they're grounded in their power. So this isn't even about being louder necessarily. This is about standing in your power. And somebody please remind me to talk about media. Some if I don't talk about media, someone please remind me to talk about media sometime down in this conversation, and why it's important to let your voice know, because the world that we live in, unfortunately, people honor and respect people that come across as thought leaders. And we'll talk about thought leadership as we go along. But thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, we're getting warmed up. I appreciate the thoughts and the contributions. All right, so who are you? Who are you? So when I created the slides and the material for today's talk, I wanted to talk to the brilliant overthinker, exactly what that sounds like. You're extremely brilliant, A student, Ade-Mabo. Hey, Ade-Mabo and I grew up together, and Ade-Mabo was this, she was always this smart kid. My parents would always be like, can't you see Ade-Mabo? She has this, she has that. And until tomorrow, my mom is still like, oh, look at Ade-Mabo. Ade-Mabo is doing, I'm like, Ade-Mabo is doing, Ade-Mabo is doing. This thing just sort of follow you to like you never leaves, like they just keep, we just have this thing of, can you see people like that, can you see your mates? So anyway, so that's an interesting reference there. But the brilliant overthinker, you're brilliant but you're an overthinker. The talented procrastinator, you're extremely talented, you're gifted, you know what you're doing, you know your sauce, but it's like, okay, let's do it tomorrow, let's do it next. It's the fear that's causing you to procrastinate. It's not the kids, it's not your packed schedule, it's not the things that you think it is. The self-doubter, the endless researcher, well, let's make sure it's right, let's dot our I's and cross our T's. I don't want to sound silly, because the last time I heard this person sound silly, I didn't want to sound like that. The senior executive who struggles to believe she's enough, the expert who's good at what she does, but is constantly overpaid. My heart literally breaks for the people who are extremely good at what they do, but they're constantly overpaid. Why? Nobody knows you. You are not confident. You don't know who you are. You don't love who you are. You rather default for other people to speak up, but you sit there in resentment. You sit there angry because people are not happy about this. People are not happy about it. The high value woman who's overqualified yet does not feel like she's enough. And lastly, the nice girl. I make reference to the nice girl because there's a lot of nice people around. There's a lot of nice people, even just from the way that we are religiously speaking or spiritually speaking. We're brought up and we're taught to be nice. Your brother's keeper, look out for the next person. And we're given all these sermons. And sometimes what happens with a lot of us is we internalize that to mean no boundaries, say yes to everything, help everybody, pick up your phone in the middle of the night, be there for everybody, stretch yourself to accommodate everybody, let everyone else go before you, let them step on your toes. It's okay. Turn the other cheek, just the same old things that we're accustomed to. And how far has it brought you? How far has it brought you? How far has it brought you? Where are you as a result of that kind of thinking? Where are you as a result of that kind of thinking? Wouldn't it be better if you moved further along, whether in business or in your jobs or in your professions or whatever, and then you can then turn around and still be a good person, but not necessarily the nice girl. There's a difference in nice and kind, by the way. There's a difference in nice and good. And I don't know if you all have read that book that said the nice girls don't get corner offices. If you haven't, please try to get a hold of that book, because it literally is that. Nice girls don't get corner offices, period. Nice girls get leftovers. And I'm not just talking in business, I'm talking in relationships. I'm talking in every sphere of life. Nice girls get what's left over after the people who can speak up have gotten what they want. So I don't believe that Jesus wants us to be nice. I want to believe that God wants us to be good and genuinely selfless, not nice. So I hope you guys understand that there is a distinction. Okay. So you're the woman who's had enough. Hopefully the people that are here, people who are like, hopefully trying to change this. You've had enough. You're seeing everybody else, the empty barrels, the people who have no idea whatsoever what you're speaking about, or they have little idea, but you know that you're more detailed. You know you're more meticulous. You know you're more qualified. You know all of these things, but still you're not taking on any stages. By stages, I don't mean a physical stage. I mean you're not getting to the top of your industry, whatever that looks like. You're not owning your brilliance and you're not leading boldly. Now let me ask you guys this, because when I was doing some research, I found that 75% of women suffer from imposter syndrome. Because I know we're talking here, some of us are feeling like it's a cultural thing, or it's a me thing. Actually, no. Actually, no, you'd be surprised to find out that people like Michelle Obama suffer from imposter syndrome. People like Mel Robbins suffer from imposter syndrome. People like Oprah Winfrey, the people that you look up to, suffer from imposter syndrome. This is why we have to do the work. It's not something that stops happening when you start making $2 million a month. It's not something that stops happening when you get to a certain level in your profession. It's not something that stops happening when something external happens to you. It's something that you have to keep working on, because it doesn't matter what room you walk into, you're always going to find people who are better than you in certain areas and other areas. You're always going to have you're always going to feel what's the word? You're always going to feel inclined to compare. You're always going to feel inclined to say, well, who else is here? Let me see how I measure up. Let me see how I compare, you know? So this is the beginning and literally the genesis of our problems. When you start to question yourself, when you start projects, God has told you to write a book, but no, I want to wait till I have a manuscript complete. I want to wait till I have the money at $10,000 to pay a book academy coach. I want to wait till I have, I don't know, you want to wait till everything is done for you to press play. But when are you ever going to get to the point where everything is done? When you're dead, because there's life is in motion. We have children, we have spouses, we have friends, we have a life, we have jobs, we have careers, we have businesses, we have things to do and places to go. And one of them is not trying to write a book to announce yourself to the world. Most people do not want to do that. So this is exactly why you feel like a fraud. You feel like a fraud because when you put your pen to paper, you're like, what am I writing about that has not been written about? What am I even doing that has not been done? Who am I? What have I accomplished? Like, okay, because you worked in this place now for 10 years, now you want to teach other people how to do it. And you guys want to know the honest truth? It's because we're also so judgmental to other people. This is why we judge ourselves. But I'm not going to go there today. So because you look at other people and you're like, what has that person done? What do they know? Do they even have a PhD? Why are they talking about this? And so because we do that to other people, we don't want to be that person. And you forget that even the person that you're making fun of, you're looking at, you're going, what have they done to deserve this? What have they done to call themselves this? If they speak to 1,000 people a week, at least 100 people, at least 10% of those people are inspired. But isn't that better than sitting around and doing nothing? Isn't that better than sitting around and asking everybody for their opinions and creating polls and going, guys, what do you think my strength is? Well, you already know. I'm telling you, I promise you. You already know. You don't need to ask anybody else for your strength. You just need to do. You just need to do what God has told you to do. And so if you don't want to stay an underdog, and we'll talk more about what an underdog is, in my opinion, and I'd love to really hear you guys' thoughts on that, actually. If you don't want to stay an underdog, it's time to put your hand up and really start to speak up. It's time to put your hand up and start to do the thing. It's time to stop expecting perfection from yourself when you see the human in other people. Isn't that funny how that works? Okay. You look at other people, they may create a semi-perfect project. They may start off with version 1.0. You're like, oh my God, that's a really cool thing. Yeah, you encourage them. I see all of you guys in here, encouragers. You encourage them, you tell them, oh, you get better, keep doing it. But in your case, you do not ever give yourself grace to get better. You want iPhone version 15 10 years ago. I mean, even look at iPhone. Every single year they have a new upgrade. Why? Because they've given themselves an opportunity, a chance to keep improving and installing new updates. What would your life look like right now if you gave yourself an opportunity to update rather than be perfect the first time around? What would it look like? What could you accomplish if you said, you know what, I'm just going to publish my scrap or my drafts to the world? I'm going to start that business and I'm not going to expect perfection for myself. I'm not going to think that it's going to go places the first time around. And not to say it's not, but this is what you have to say to yourself to allow yourself to keep going, right? All right, so here's underdog energy. Underdog energy goes like this. I'm going to stay safe. I'm never going to pay for anything. I'm not going to take any risk. I'm not going to do anything that hasn't been researched over and over again. I'm not going to put out any facts that I'm not sure about. I'm just going to stay local, okay? Friends and family only. Let me perfect this thing. Let me know what I'm doing before I start introducing myself to other people who do not know me. Let's just do it local first. Let's just survey. Let's just make sure that my friends are fine with it first, you know? Underdog energy is, do they like me? Am I doing good? Am I okay? Underdog energy is when God has told you to do something like this, but you're waiting for 1,000 people. See, one thing that my team and I struggled with this webinar was marketing. Didn't matter where we went to, they just kept closing the doors on us. We had a whole strategy planned out, and it was like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. That plan was supposed to get us 1,000 people. Boom, that didn't work out. And we only found out last week that it didn't work out. So we're okay, last minute plan. Let's go back to Instagram ads. Let's go do Instagram ads. Facebook, boom, blocked my account. No, you cannot do any ads. I'm like, wait, you said what? You said what? So honestly, it would have been easy for me to go, I don't want to do this no more. It's okay. I don't want to talk to 5 people. What are they going to think I'm not successful? Are they going to think I don't know what I'm talking about? Are they going to think this of me and that of me? But you know what? I have been there, done that, have the t-shirt, and I'm not proud to say this, but it's not going to get you anywhere. I spent years and years and years and years wondering when I would have an audience. Hey, Anu, I'm gonna mute you. Welcome, welcome. I spent years and years and years wondering when I would. Illa's here. I spent years and years and years wondering, am I gonna have the audience? Am I gonna speak to 2,000 people? Am I gonna have 10,000 people to talk to? Okay, can everyone mute themselves? Okay, done. Can you imagine though, if I waited to have 1,000 people to talk to, I'd have just canceled it and gone, you know what, wait, I'm waiting for 1,000 people. But me saying that is also saying that Matilda is not worth me giving my time to, or Ade-Mabo is not worth me talking to, or Anu is not worth me talking to, or Timmy Tai, or anybody here. You guys are, it's not, I need to have 1,000 people, because if I don't have 1,000 people, then why am I talking to Abiola alone? What kind of waste of time is that? Can you imagine if I said that? Do you see the conversations? It's me saying that you guys are not important, and I'm waiting to have 1,000 people. And you're not going to get the information that you need. But you know what's worse? I may never get 1,000 people. Because how do I get 1,000 people? I get 1,000 people by talking to 5 people and 7 people and being okay when 9 people show up, and being okay when 1 person shows up. Because what I'm saying, God, is this assignment that you've sent me on, it's okay for me to deliver it to 1 person. Because this is how much I believe in what we're doing. And I know that I trust you that you're going to bring the right people in the room. All right. But the underdog doesn't do that. The underdog is like, nope, not doing that. Nope. What are they going to say? What are they going to think? You're emotional, and they wear their emotions on their sleeves. Their favorite phrases are, I'm not ready yet. Wait till I'm ready. Wait till I have a team. Wait till I have the money. Wait till I have the people. Wait till I have the audience. Wait till I have this, and wait till I have that. Does anyone resonate? Does anyone want to share any experiences of being an underdog? All right, but here's a converse to main character energy. Main character people are like, nope, we're gonna take massive risk today. We're gonna start to do what God has called us to do today. If 1 person shows up, is great. If 15 people show up, is great. If 1,500 people show up, is great. They prefer to stay CEO and oversee the task and not get involved in every task. Why? Because you're not OCD, you're not controlling. They're okay with things not being perfect. They're not scared to invest money. They understand that money is just a tool. They're not hoarding and going, oh my God, I just lost $60. I just lost $600. No, you make a better decision next time. You do better next time. They're not afraid to speak up, to introduce new concepts. You're not afraid to be wrong. In their businesses, they focus on systems and automations. They're not trying to be the nice girl. They're not trying to be the most, the one that's loved the most in the class. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to deliver their message. They're trying to get the solutions that they have to the world. And they understand that it's a numbers game. They create movements and they create communities. So let me ask you guys, do you think you're underdog energy or main character energy? And I made up those words, main character energy. But what do you think? What are your thoughts so far? Are you underdog energy? Are you main character energy?
Mommy, why did Auntie me?
I wanted to say that exactly a mixture.
Hi.
That's roommate. Hi.
Well, happy hello.
How does she know my
She
name?
knows your name.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say that yeah,
And I'm learning about main character energy. Remember, I wish I learned about this when I was 10 or 11.
run out. Okay, I was going to say that I mixture too because it depends on the setting. So in the corporate setting, I think I'll be more main character, I'd say,
Oh,
not
okay.
fully, but more. But
Mm,
there's several ideas I have to do like business, and I think that's where I can say I'm underdog almost fully. You
mm,
know, I started out because I do real estate here, and it's something that is so lucrative, and I'm trying to see how I can do it as a business. You know, because I feel like it's a huge opportunity that a lot of people living outside Dubai can benefit from. I started out a page, but after a while, I started saying, "Oh, the quality of stuff I'm posting is not very good. I need to wait and see if I can make it better." And that
right.
waits now a couple of weeks. I haven't done anything else, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's where I'm not underdog.
I really appreciate you sharing that because I can relate with that on so many levels where on the one aspect of your life, you're like, I'm totally crushing it. And I know you're crushing it in your career where it's like C-level, let's go. People know what to do. And if they don't know what to do, I know what to do to make them do what they need to do. So I get that. But in business, you're more safe. And you know why? It's because it's not your comfort zone. It's because you've been doing this. The reason your main character energy at work is because you've been doing it for so long that you can do it with your eyes closed. You've been in that environment for a long time, but you haven't allowed yourself make mistakes as a business owner. But let me just say this to you. The good news is it's so easy to switch. It's so easy to go. I'm the same Ade-Mabo who's crushing it at work, who's still going to crush it in business. Do you know why? Because who we are is who we are in every room. Do you guys understand that? Do you understand that when people are excellent, you're excellent as moms? Most times you're excellent as moms, you're excellent as as professionals, the excellent wives, the excellent friends, the excellent mostly in every setting. Why? Because excellence itself is a spirit. It's not something you can turn on and off. And even if you tried, I propose it to you that you will never be able to be mediocre in business, even if you try to be mediocre. Why?
Actually believe what you're saying as you're saying it to me now. I do believe. I know
Spirit.
it's
It's a spirit, Adema. It's a spirit. You can't turn it off, turn it on and off. You can't say, okay, Rumi, I'm only your mom from 9 to 3, okay? From 3 to 9 when you come back home. From 9 to 3, you're your teacher's responsibility. You cannot do that. Can you ever turn off being a mom? Even at work, you're a mom. It's a spirit. Excellence is a spirit. If you're excellent in at work, being a C-level executive, my sister, you are excellent as an entrepreneur. You just don't know it yet because you haven't tried it. People who are mediocre all around because mediocrity is a spirit. So if you've allowed yourself to thrive in that area, I promise you, you would never allow yourself mediocrity as a business owner. You will never be able to do it. And let me tell you, because you've succeeded so much in your career, when you start to have expectations from yourself, do you understand that you're still putting a team together in business the same way you do at work? You're calling yourself to higher standards. You don't suddenly go, oh, this damsel in distress, guys, I don't know what I'm doing, come to my aid. No, you may do that the first couple times, but eventually you'll be like, but I know this now. I know systems. I know how to be excellent. I know how to show up to appointments early. I know how to sell. I know what it takes to have components of real estate. I just have to allow myself not be perfect the first couple times. Even the 10th time and the 1000th time, you're still not going to be perfect. And that's okay. I think that's all I'm just trying to post to you. If that's all we get from the next couple minutes, I think that my job is done. I just want you guys to know that it's okay to not be perfect because those are the kind of people that other people are attracted to. Other imperfect humans like me and the 7 other billion people on the planet, we're attracted to other imperfect. We don't want to talk to robots. We don't want to talk to people who have their lives perfect. I can't relate to. If you have your life perfectly together, I'm just like, you can't help me because you're not going to understand my struggles. You're not going to understand my struggles if you always have people turn up to your event, if you always sell thousands every month, you're not going to. How can you help me? You probably cannot help me because you're going to be like, oh, do. But check out the person who has gone through, all sorts of mistakes, who've been through, they've been through everything. They can tell you you're going to dip here. Your income is going to dip in month 3. Your confidence may likely dip in month 6. They'll tell you exactly what data. And then you can go, oh, because you've done it before, right? Yeah.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I am someone that is in the middle of both underdog and main character. Is there not someone like that?
Yes.
That is a mixture of both.
Yes. Yes, that's what I just said. Yes. Oh, you mean sorry, explain to me what you mean by mixture. Mixture as in you mean
You have some traits from the main character and you have some traits from the underdog. You're not all what the underdog says, and you're not all what the main character energy says.
right. I think yes. I think absolutely so. And just like I said to Deme, you can decide back and forth because you have seen yourself, excuse my language, but you've seen yourself be a bad in certain situations. So you can be a bad in another situation. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I know there are kids in the background. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're not always going to be like on top of things every single, I'm not, I don't, I'm not like a perfect mom, but I know that I have the spirit of excellence as a mom. How do I know that? I want to be a better mom. I ask the right questions. If you're doing this mommyhood better than me, best believe you see me in your DM asking you, how do you do XYZ? I think it's the spirit that matters more than even the things itself, right? The modalities. Okay, let's talk about the rise of the underdog. Let me tell you why it's not a good idea, guys, to stay in the underdog mode. I don't know if you guys know this, but underdogs, nobody pays attention to the underdog. I'm not saying that's how the world is supposed to be, but we live in a fallen world. It's not your job. It's not my job. Until Jesus comes, people are always going to look at the people who are more outspoken, the people who look like they have more going for them and give them their money. And then you who's over here, putting out the work, being so super smart, no one sees your work. No one sees you because they haven't seen you on media. No one knows you're great because they haven't seen you put any professional photos out there. No one knows you're excellent because you haven't spoken before. They haven't heard you speak. That's the world we live in. It's a fallen world. You and I cannot change that. So instead of changing it, what we could do is we could do it however way they want it. And of course, keep your values as you go along. Keep your character, keep being a child of God as you go along. So underdogs are often looked underlooked or overlooked by society. They have a desire to change something about themselves or the world around them, but they cannot. Why? Because no one knows you and no one cares. The odds are stacked against you all the time. And underdogs stay small, they stay trying. You guys know, think about the areas of your life that your main character. When a person who walks in looking like they're not even trying. Maybe they walk in with like, I don't know, not pajamas. Pajamas is bad, but like sweatpants, hair not combed, hair not done. They don't even look like they're interested. Do you take them seriously? Please, guys, without even being like super righteous, we don't. We judge immediately, and that's just, we see first before we start going, okay, so who are you? We see before we speak. Now don't we see before we speak? We see people before we speak to them. Before you get to know you, people have judged you. Before they get to know you, they've judged you already, right? So the rise of the underdog, we have to leave this underdog mode. Why? It's not going to help you do what God has told you to do. It's not going to help you make any impact in the world. It's not going to help you spread your message. It's certainly not going to help you make any money. But here's the biggest problem of the underdog: imposter syndrome. They don't feel good. They don't feel qualified. They don't feel like they know what they're doing. They don't feel like they know what they're talking about. Like Ade-Mabo said, I feel like I need to go research. I put out a few content and I didn't think it was good enough. But the person who's buying a house needs to trust you. They need to like you. But first, they need to know you, Ade-Mabo. If they don't know you, they're not going to buy a house from you. And they don't care about your pretty slides or your pretty graphics. Oftentimes, you just want to know, can I trust Ade-Mabo with the information she's giving me? Does she know what she's talking about? Those are the things they care about. They don't really necessarily care about the things that you think they care about. Not all the time. So what I'm saying to you is start, and continue. Because the end goal is to get better and better and better. Now, say Ade-Mabo starts and she starts to put out content. That's great, but maybe she puts out content once a week, once a month. She's not consistent. Her brand colors are all over the place. She tells people one thing today and then does another the next time, or books appointment for 3 and shows up at 3:45. Yeah, no, you're gonna stay an underdog because nobody wants to deal with stuff like that. But say Ade-Mabo, shows up for it, has a calendar, has given you this sort of this underlying message of trust. You can trust me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. And she passes on that credibility. See, I now go on her page. She has a website. She has a presence. She talks to me about what she believes in. She shares a little bit about her core values. I now know that Ade-Mabo cares about the same things I care about. She happens to be Jesus baby as well, and she happens to love people. I'm gonna go with Ade-Mabo over some other random person on the internet. Absolutely. So yes, the biggest problem of the underdog is this thing of imposter. But what is imposter syndrome? Ciao. You guys, let me tell you something that I found out. I found out that whether or not you know it, imposter syndrome is going to come. You're going to at some point feel like you're not good. You're going to at some point feel like you don't deserve to be asking for the kind of money you're asking for. And you're going to at some point feel like there's people should go elsewhere, they shouldn't come to you. Right? So basically, someone with imposter syndrome experiences feelings of thoughts that you're incompetent. They think you're not good enough. But here's the thing, they have evidence upon evidence upon evidence in their lives. They have history. They have history. Some of these people are doctors. Some of these people have gotten to the highest level of their certifications and experience. They have history in other aspects of their lives, maybe not in the specific aspect that they feel that way, but they have history in other aspects of their lives. And do you guys know that we can carry credibility over? Let's talk about that. Dr. Fisayo is here. Dr. Fisayo and I think you and I spoke about, are you still here? Are you here? Are you here? I don't know. She's here. I don't see her anymore. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're here? Okay, great. So Dr. Fisayo just started a wellness business. I shouldn't say just started, but a year ago or so, right? Now, you've been succeeding, say, in other aspects of your life. I know this because you shared a few of those successes with me. You're an entrepreneur, you do amazing things in business. Now, just because wellness is new, does that mean that Dr. Fisayo suddenly doesn't know what she's doing anymore? No. Why? Because I know that she can transfer credibility from being a successful entrepreneur to her wellness business. Why do I know that? Because imposter syndrome has more to do with our beliefs, has more to do with like I said, it's a spirit of excellence. It's not necessarily the skill type. You guys, I don't know if I've just explained that well, but let me just try again. Hello, Idia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If I didn't welcome you guys, I'm sorry, please, I welcome you. Let me say this again. So let's just say, I'm doing this amazing thing in this aspect of my life. And then next year I decide, okay, let's throw Idia on the spot. Idia decides I want to open a beauty shop, a beauty supply and a one-stop shop place where women can come and feel beautiful. But Idia has been a badass. She's been amazing in her career for the last 10 years. Now, suddenly, because Idia is in this new space, she starts to feel like, do I even know what I'm doing? I'm not good enough. I don't know where to get my supply. She starts to compare herself with the so-called people who look like they're better than her in that particular industry. Do you know that Idia can transfer credibility from all the years that she has been excellent as a career person, as a professional? Do you know you can transfer credibility? Do you know that when you want to do business with someone, it's not necessary, the technical skills are important, the hard skills are important, but do you guys want to know what's more important? You want to know if you can like this, if you like this person, you want to know if you can trust them, you want to know if they share the same core values, you want to know if they'll take your money and run away, you want to know if they can help you, and if you're genuinely a good person. Do you guys know that that's how we make decisions? We don't know this, but this is how we make decisions. We don't often make decisions by the things that we make decisions that we think it is. And this is why when a branding expert speaks to you, they tell you, talk to people about your core values, talk to them about what you believe in, talk to them about the things that hurt you, talk to them about the things that you're not happy about in the world. Why? Why do they say this? So you can get your own people. Because why? There are 10,000, 10 million other realtors out there who know the heart. You can be a realtor by studying, for, I don't know, less than a year, and you get your license. So anybody can be a realtor, but not everybody is a good person. Not everybody is willing to go hard, to work hard for their clients. Not everybody does what they say they will do. That's why those are the more difficult skills to acquire. It's the soft skills. It's not the technical skills. Can we stop getting hung up on the technical skills? You're a dietitian, Abiola. You know what you're doing. You can help people lose weight. You can help people be skinny overnight. Can you get off this whole thing of, well, I don't have followers. Well, I haven't released a dietitian book or nutrition book in 3 years. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. If someone paid you right now to help them lose weight, would you put in the work? Yes, you will. So what I'm saying is underdogs are shooting themselves in the foot. So we cannot go around with that underdog energy, with that small, oh, let me just serve friends and family and things like that. So I don't know where you guys are, but this is one of my most favorite things to do is to journal. I don't know if you're driving, if you're out and about, but do Do y'all have like 5 minutes? Can we do a quick journaling exercise? Do y'all have 5 minutes? I promise you it'll be very it'll help you.
Sure, thank you.
Don't mind the questions. Don't look and go, well, I do love myself. What is she talking about? I want you to get out a notebook, just any notebook, doesn't have to be a fancy journal. And I want you to write on that notebook, why don't I like myself? I don't know if we went too deep too soon, but why don't I like myself? Because I put it to you that the people's profile you're scrolling through on Instagram, you're like, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh she did that, oh damn, she's good, wow, wow. The people you're wowing over, do you know why you're wowing over them? It's their energy, because it's energy that will make a person to show up a certain kind of way, to make you look like, wow, they've done this and they've done that. And you over here, you don't like yourself. You're not a big fan of yourself. You're constantly putting yourself down. You're constantly judging yourself. You're constantly saying, oh, I need a website. Because whenever you say to me, I need a website before I launch a business, you're judging yourself. Whenever you say to me, I need to have this and I need to have, you give yourself these high expectations that nobody does to you. You don't like yourself. Why? Why don't you like yourself? And it's because you don't like yourself, you've stayed an underdog. When you don't like yourself, you stay an underdog. When you don't like yourself, you stay forgotten. When you don't like yourself, you stay irrelevant. When you don't like yourself, people can see through that. And if you're not in a position or in a space where you could do that work right now, because you're like, hey, please spare me this, let's move on, I like myself, just write down the question. I promise you it'll make sense later. Just write it down. Guys, give me 1 second. It's blazing hot here. Let me turn on my AC. Okay, I'm back. All right. So because you don't like yourself, it's easier for you to live life through other people's lenses. You're like, oh my God, she just keeps getting better and better. She just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Look at this person, her brand just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Look at what she's doing. Wow, I can't believe it. But you have the opportunity to do the same. Why are you so fixated on looking at other people? Why haven't you looked at have you ever looked at yourself and gone, oh wow, look what I've done? Some of us don't do that. You guys tell me if I'm speaking truth or I'm just on my own here. But do you actually look at yourself and go, wow, you're amazing. Wow, you did that. Wow. Because if you did, the energy will transpire and people would see that. And then you can attract the clients that you actually need. And then you can stop being an underdog and take center stage, because we concluded that center stage is where everything happens. Center stage is where you get paid. Center stage is where you have impact. Center stage is where you glorify God's name. Center stage is what God has called you to do. Think about it. Center stage is being authentic. It's not looking at the next person and going, I'm going to do it exactly how they've done it. No, center stage is taking your personality, taking your core values, taking your authenticity and wrapping all of that and saying, what can I do with everything that I am right now to appeal to the people that I need to appeal to? Let me tell you guys why this is, why I know 100% that you don't need more stuff. I follow or I don't follow. I stumbled on a page on Instagram and this girl literally lives in a hut. I don't want to call it a hut, but a substandard home, totally substandard. She would not pass for someone that you'd normally call a content creator on a good day, but she literally shows you a day in the life. This is where I take my bath. This is how I cook. Like literally tiny little pots with nothing. The house doesn't look like anything that you and I in this room would say, oh, wow. But do you know what they've done? They've embraced your authenticity. Now, guess what? Everybody else who is not packaged, who's not pretending, or who is, even if you're pretending, who looks at them and go, wow, I really admire your courage to share your home like this. It's like fake has become so rampant that when a person is authentic, we think of them as gods, mini gods. And I saw her page and she had all these millions of followers and, lots of people following her and asking, wow, so you do. And this is a simple life. This person lives in a tiny little 1 bedroom. doesn't have the luxuries that most of you have, doesn't have a car, of course, doesn't even have a pretty home, doesn't have anything, but she shows her life. But why am I saying this? I'm saying that it's her authenticity that's caused her to take center stage. It's not having more money. It's not having more time. It's not having more gadgets. It's not having more toys. It's not having more of the things that you think she needs more of. It's not even having a brand. She doesn't even have a brand. It's not having pretty branding. Do you understand what I'm saying to you guys? I wish I had a link. I would have shared this page. I'm saying that authenticity or taking on center stage has very little to do with the things that you were saying or giving yourself excuses for. Number two, what makes you feel small? What's making you feel small today? Like I said, if you don't want to go, if you're not ready to go in depth right now, please write down the questions and do it later, because what you find will be very remarkable, and I promise it'll change your life. What makes you feel small? What makes you feel small? What about you makes you feel small? What about you makes you think, I'm not that kind of person that should make that kind of money. I'm not the kind of person that should be on stage. I'm not the kind of person that should have a level of influence. I'm not that kind of person. What about you makes you feel small? Number three, what about you do you wish you could change right now? What aspect of your life, what aspect of your business, what aspect of you do you wish you could change? What about you do you wish you can change right now? Why don't you feel worthy of success? 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 And if I were to be completely honest, why do you think other people are more deserving of success than you? Why don't you feel worthy of success? Why not you? Why are you constantly recommending other people? Why are you constantly pointing at other people? Why are you constantly saying, well, if I were this person, maybe I'll do it. I'll listen to what he's saying. Or if I were this person, if I were that person, if I had more audience, if I had more this, if I had more that, why don't you feel worthy of success? Who told you the success has to be any different from what you look like right now? Who told you to be more successful, you need to have more this and more that? Why don't you feel worthy right now? The other question I had was, if you did not hold back, describe your most successful version. What would she care about? Would she care about what people are saying? Would she care about what people are doing? Would they care about, I don't know, would they care about the things that you care about right now? What is your most successful version right now? If you did not hold back, say you went on and you're like, I'm gonna take this to the edges. I'm not going to play small anymore. I'm gonna go to the ends. I'm gonna go to the extreme. I'm gonna look for the brand or the business or the version of me who is the most successful, and I'm gonna aim to do that. What would be your most successful version? What would you care about? What would you do differently in your business? How would you show up? If you did not hold back, if you did not wait any longer, if you did not, I don't know, if you were not waiting for something to happen, describe your most successful version. What would you care about? And what would you not care about anymore? All right. Let me know if those questions were helpful. Like I said, I realize that none of us are willing or able to go deep right now, but please make sure you do those questions later. Here are some root causes of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, a lot of times, is rooted in an identity crisis. Identity crisis. Someone say identity crisis. I talked about Mr. George. If y'all were not in the room when I talked about Mr. George, ask me later about Mr. George. See, Mr. George is only 10, and at a young, tender age, he's encouraged. He knows that it's okay to not be perfect, but he's also celebrated. He's taken on responsibility. He's able to serve other little kids. He's able to do things on a big level, on a wide level, on a wide scale. At only 10. Like I said, if Mr. George grows up at 30 and 40, Do you ever think that it will cross his mind that he's not good enough? Maybe, probably not as much as a lot of us. So the problem is identity. A lot of times our identities are, man, I don't even know where to go with this. It's the foundation is wrong. The foundation is off. Let me just put it that way. And so we are constantly walking in every room, looking over our shoulders. And this is the exact same reason we're comparing ourselves to the other people. This is the exact same reasons we walk into a room and go, what was that person wearing versus what was I wearing? Oh, I was the best looking person in the room. Does it matter really? Does it matter if you were why are you even looking at what other people are doing to ascertain your worth? Why does it matter? That's how we start feeling less or better. It's this whole thing of walking into a room and going, oh, I was the best person. I was the best dressed person. Or I was the worst dressed person. Do you understand that that's where imposter syndrome comes from? And then think about the mind, the psychological factors, oh man. This thing, imposter syndrome is deep. It's deep. And if you don't take care of it, it's going to keep showing up in every area of your life. It's going to keep showing up. It's going to keep showing up when you walk into the office and you see people chatting and you're like, oh, I'm pretty sure they were talking about me. Or this person doesn't like me, or this person, they're not interested in what I have to offer. They don't like the way that I sound. And I want to lay emphasis on the lack of vision, because here's the thing. If you know that God has called you to a vision that's bigger than yourself, and I keep talking about lack of vision because I think it's so important. If you're doing something that is bigger than paying your bills, paying your rent, paying your mortgage, putting food on the table, and you're responsible for other people, do you guys understand that you wouldn't even have space? You wouldn't even have the thoughts to accommodate imposter syndrome. Do you understand that one of the biggest reasons why we're constantly being held back from doing more is because all we're responsible for is yourself, your spouse, and your children. You're not trying to do anything that's bigger than yourself. You're not trying to be responsible for anybody else. And so I say that one of the biggest ways you can stop imposter syndrome right now is to go ahead and build something that impacts more people than your immediate family members, that impacts strangers. Why? Because you're going to wake up every morning not thinking about yourself. It's going to be about, oh, this is not even about me. How can I do this for other people? How can I do something that impacts other people? How can I do something that has nothing to do with me? If it has nothing to do with you, if it's a bigger vision than yourself, then you're going to get up and do it, whether or not you feel like doing it. So one of the reasons we have imposter syndrome is because your vision is too small. You're only looking for $5,000 a month. It's too small. It's too small. And so you can afford to be lazy. You can afford to accommodate thoughts when they come up to say, oh, I don't want to do this because it's too small. Because you're just trying to just live modestly and just leave this life and just leave it the way you met it. What if you're trying to do bigger, 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 bigger? So these are the root causes of imposter syndrome. And of course, many times it's society tells us how to behave, how to look, how to dress, how to feel, how to show up, how to speak, when to speak. Right? Matilda, you want to say something? Go ahead, please.
Yes, I had a question when you talked about the vision part. Sometimes I feel that one could have vision and the vision itself seem crippling.
Seems crippling?
Yes, seems so overwhelming
Right.
that you don't end up taking action.
Mm-hmm.
Not because you're not holding back because you don't have a vision. This
Mm-hmm.
time you're holding back because it feels like the vision is so much, even though it has nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not thinking about just me, what I can do for my little family, but something that has a bigger impact. Yet
Right.
one is still withholding.
Mm-hmm.
How does that, where does that come
How
from?
does that play in? Right. Okay. So that's a very good question, actually. But let me ask you, Matilda, if you took yourself out of the equation, if you took yourself completely out of the equation and you said, you know what, I'm just going to build a library for 20 or 30% of people to speak German, because I know that's what you do. Your language girl. I'm gonna build a library. I'm gonna build a facility. I'm gonna build an app. I'm gonna build something that educates people on language. I'm gonna take myself out of the equation. By taking myself out of the equation, I really mean I'm not gonna make it about me. It's not, I'm not talking, when I say take myself, I'm not talking about how much money you make. I'm not gonna make it, I'm gonna make it like a legacy. I'm gonna make it a thing that I do for the world. I'm not gonna do something that I'm doing because I want to benefit from it. I'm gonna do something that I won't even benefit. It will be my children's children, all the way to strangers. How would you still show up? Would you still be emotional about it, or would you just take yourself out of the equation? Like, imagine Mark Zuckerberg building Facebook, and it's so huge that it's something that changes the world. It's something that changes the way we do life. So at that point, it's not about you anymore. Waking up in the morning, you're not thinking, is Matilda happy about this or not? No, it's not about, Matilda is completely out of the equation. Now you're just a tool. Now it is, am I moving forward in the direction of this thing has to take a life of its own? So the question, my follow-up question to you would be, has it taken a life of its own, or is it still a Matilda thing? Because if it's still a Matilda thing, you would never give up control of it. You would never accept anybody else's opinion of it. You would never, like, it would always be a small thing because it's Matilda's thing.
I think I see the answer now.
Yeah, because if it's a Matilda thing, it's always gonna be, oh, that's not what I was thinking about when I be, but when it becomes a God thing, when it becomes a community, when it becomes when you make it a bigger thing, it becomes, what do the people need? Not what Matilda needs. What do the people need? Is it important for people to speak multiple languages? Is it important for people to be educated in German? Would that give them more opportunities if I was able to educate 2,000 new people, 2,000 people in German every single month? Would that help people be more be more competitive in the world's economy? The answer is yes, obviously. But if you made it a Matilda theme, then it will be, am I in the mood? Am I tired? Am I lazy? Do I have time? Do I not have time? But when it's to be your thing, when you understand that you're just nothing but a vessel, you're just a tool, then it becomes, it doesn't matter if I have time or not. It doesn't matter if I have the energy or it's not about me. It's about what do the people need.
Thank you.
It has to be bigger than you. It has to be, we have, like, this is mainstream energy anyways. Mainstream energy is not, we don't create for family and friends. Mainstream doesn't create local. Mainstream is not a mom and pop shop. Mainstream says, I am going to go out there and educate the people and give them something quality that goes beyond me. That's why systems and automation is important when we talk about mainstream energy. But underdog energy, you're going to squeeze the life out of that thing because it's constantly about your ego. It's constantly about what the next person is doing. It's constantly about all those things that have nothing to do with you in the first place. Why? Because your vision was never big enough. You just wanted to create a beauty supply. You just wanted to serve 600 clients a month. But what if you wanted to change the way people saw themselves? What if you wanted to change people's self-esteem for young Black girls? What if you wanted to do something bigger than just selling a product? What if I wanted to just move beyond just creating, I have a business that offers mobile massages to people, and sometimes I have to say to myself, this is not about just helping one person feel better, helping two people feel better. This is about self-care on a mainstream level. I don't know if I'm making sense here. But what if I got out of my own head and I said, this is not about just meeting my goals. This is about changing a whole industry. How would I do things? Would I still be doing things on my phone? Would I still be doing things manually? Would I still be taking appointments on my Jotter? Or would I actually be serious about building automations so that self-care is easily accessible to the people? It's a blue ocean strategy. It changes everything. It changes the way you think about your business. It changes the way you approach your business. It changes everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can everybody, and that's a very important question, Matilda, thank you for asking. Can everybody see a way to create a business that spans beyond them? Because that's where the impact is. That's where impact is. Impact is great. If you impact 100 people, that's still impact. But when you want to move from underdog energy to mainstream energy, main character energy, you're always going to be behind copying trends if you're not able to put on your hats to say, how can I change a culture? How can I change a culture? How can I change the way people think about certain things? Using beauty as a tool, using self-care as a tool, using real estate as a tool, using language as a tool, using weight loss as a tool, using coaching as a tool. Yes. Okay, so here are some symptoms. I mean, we've talked about this already. Self-doubt, self-centeredness is always about you, always about you. The day you feel like it, you do it. The day you don't feel like it, you don't do it. The day you get encouragement, you go and put up one post. The day you don't get encouragement, you don't do it. You have a job, so it's great. You have $5,000 coming from this business, so that's okay. I'm not trying to do more than that. But that's not where it's at. That's not where it's at. And when you stay on this level, you're constantly comparing yourself. What's that other person doing? What are they doing? You're constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses. Imagine a world where you don't have to keep up with the Joneses anymore because now you're it's like a literally blue ocean strategy. You're not in the red ocean anymore. You're not competing with 10,000 people. You and two other people on your different path. It changes the way that societies think about things. It's kind of I remember a service called Loom, and they help you lose weight, but they don't help you lose weight by changing your nutrition or calorie deficiency or things like that. They help you lose weight with your thoughts and mindset and helping you understand the psychology of why you eat and why you do what you do. So to me, that's blue ocean. They're not competing with Weight Watchers. They're not competing with any gym. They're in a world of their own because now they're doing weight loss from a psych perspective. And it's all like psychologists and people like that created the app. So I want us to think about what is a blue ocean strategy way of doing business the way that you do business right now. Can you think of something different that you can bring to the market so you're not competing with 10,000 other people? Okay, we talked about this already, creating a vision that's bigger than you, identifying the negative self-talk, giving yourself permission to not be perfect, to not be right. Yes, give yourself permission to be wrong. You're going to be wrong and it's okay to be wrong. And I think if we decide that it's okay to be wrong, then all of us can just go off the races and just do what we need to do because it's okay to be wrong. And let me tell you something, you're selling products and services to people who are not perfect, to wrong people. So yes, they're okay. They're okay with accepting your products and services as long as they, like we said, they can know, like, and trust you, and they can see that you're not intentionally trying to sabotage them. You're not intentionally trying to cheat them. You're not intentionally trying to hurt them or harm them. Yes. All right. And then of course get support. Okay. So this is, we've come to one of the two things I wanted to accomplish with this talk was number one, really just helping you see that imposter syndrome is something that impacts all of us. Stats say 75% of people. I do think it's more than that. Imposter syndrome is not something that impacts you and you alone. You're not alone. You thinking that you're not good enough is not just you, it's every single person. And also really helping you understand the mindset to going from underdog to center stage. Underdog to center stage. If you're not making the kind of money you want to be making, you're underdog. If you're not making the kind of impact you want to be making, you're an underdog. If you're going on Instagram and scrolling through and looking at other people and seeing what they're doing so you can copy, you're an underdog. And this has nothing to do with the number of followers you have. It has nothing to do with the amount in your bank account. If you're not operating authentically, using your core values, using your personality, wanting to be more boisterous, wanting to be less boisterous, wanting to tone up, wanting to tone down, you are an underdog. And underdogs do not get fed. We talked about being able to stand in your power, whether you're an introvert or you're an extrovert that's not what we're asked. That's not the question right now. Because you can stand in your power as a quiet storm, even as an introvert, and speak up as a quiet storm as an introvert, like Matilda said, where everyone is turning back and going, what does Matilda have to say? Because if she doesn't speak, we're not closing up class today. And you can do that as a boisterous, bubbly extrovert. Be butterfly, be yourself, and do that, and your people will meet you there. Yes, yes. So that's the first half of our session today. The second half is how can we make money? All right. All right. I know y'all came for that, so don't pretend as though you don't want to make money. Don't pretend. Are you guys with me? Can we do a quick check-in, a quick break, see how everything's doing? Thank you to Jani. Yeah. Does anyone have any thoughts? Any questions? Anything you want to share? Timmy Tayo, anything you want to
I really like the when
Mhm.
you said the thing about the kind of impact that you created for, like beyond just the small sphere, you
Mhm.
know. And I
Yeah.
think you mentioned, I mean, for those that are Christians, you mentioned giving God glory at some point. But
Mhm.
more recently, you talked about like, I'm not serving my family and friends. You know, you know that mind space of but I just don't want to have what is enough for a small group of people, or people just around me. I want to reach, you know, far beyond, you know, that sphere. That's one. And then the other thing you talked about is that really spoke to me is something around you, and it's similar. It's linked to that. You know, really, really driving impact. You know, it's not just making small change to take care of yourself, but really driving impact, meaningful impact, like life's purpose. You know, I think that when it's bigger than yourself, it makes you think of, okay, what is the most I can do now to make this happen
Yes.
versus the small next steps around.
Yes, I love that summary. Thank you, Demi. And I think, yeah, you summarized the first half. That's exactly what I was trying to accomplish. Because the thing with imposter syndrome is imposter syndrome only gets you when you're trying to pay a mortgage and you're trying to put food on your table. But when you're trying to do more than that, it does
Exactly.
not matter. You're not waking up thinking about what the next person thinks. It doesn't matter what the next person thinks, for God's sake. There are 5 million people dying
You're on
in
a mission. You're a woman on a mission, you know?
you're on
Yeah.
a mission. You're not looking to your left. You're not looking to your right. Like scripture says, you're just going. You're going. You're going. You're building systems. You're talking in systems. You're talking in numbers. You're not talking in, oh, Fulu, please, can you take a look at my sales page and tell me what you think and give me your opinion? It doesn't matter what Fulu thinks. Actually, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter. You're looking at how can I partner up with the United Nations to go into a country like Sudan and provide them with water? That level of impact. How can I make sure that people in places that don't have do you know people who created solar panels or whatever? That's the level of impact where up NEPA, down NEPA, it don't matter because there's solar panels. That's the level of impact. Like you've changed the whole industry, you've changed the whole generation. It really doesn't matter what you think about my hair. If you think the hair is old or it's new, it doesn't really matter if you think I have money. I'm not trying to impress you here. Like we're dealing with big things, big structures, and when you deal with big things, you don't even hear the noise anymore. Because when you deal with big things, you're gonna find yourself put in rooms with people who are also dealing with big things. That's how you start hearing people saying, oh, my tech company got funded $6.5 million. And you're like, how'd you ever get there? Because you were not talking about $6,500. They were not talking about $650. They started out talking about $6.5 million. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. You already make up your mind to say, I am not going to do things the way everyone does it. So it doesn't really matter what Stephanie is doing in her business. It quite frankly doesn't matter because you and Stephanie don't have the same assignment. God didn't give you guys the same purpose. Maybe Stephanie's mission was really just to create beddings and that's it. But God is like, well, no, your mission is going to help people feel better and sleep better and solve back aches and solve back problems with the bedding, Lord. Yes, with the bedding. That's what I mean when I say blue ocean strategy. You're asking for deeper insights, strategies that literally change the generations. So I want us just, pull us further to say, um, we need to stop thinking small. Small thinking is what makes you start thinking about feeling like an imposter, is what makes you start feeling like a fraud, feeling fake, feeling like you don't have what it takes, feeling like you're not enough, feeling like, when you think big, you're not thinking those things because you're not talking to small people. You're just creating systems and it becomes a numbers game. Yes. Okay. Mr. Tijani, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you so much. I just have a quick question to ask, and it is talking about imposter syndrome. I would like to know if a mentor has a role to play in this, or it's something you have to fight all by yourself. Thank you.
Good question. I want to believe this is a I want to believe this is you're asking that intentionally, aren't you? Well, because here's the thing, Tijani and everybody else in the room, because many people think that when they deal with stuff, it's just them that deals with that kind of thing. You know, when I was doing this research, I was shocked to find that 75% of people deal with imposter syndrome. And the research further went on to say it's not even the people that we think, it's the successful people. It's the Michelle Obamas, it's the Mel Robbins, it's the Oprahs, it's the people that you never anticipate because you're like, what's your business with imposter syndrome when you're a millionaire? What does money have to do with anything? So yes, I say this, okay, so to answer your question, Tijani, yes, absolutely, mentorship is important. Community is important. People telling you that you're okay. It's okay to feel this way. There's nothing weird about you if you feel this kind of way. It's okay to feel that way. I think that's absolutely important. Somebody constantly reminding you, someone constantly reminding you and holding your hand and showing you strategies. That's why I give us those journaling questions. I know that a lot of us may not be inclined to doing that kind of deep work right now, but I really encourage you to do those later because it's going to open up some deep things that maybe you never even thought you had going on for you. Questions like, do I love myself? And what kind of question is that? What do I love myself? Of course I love myself. That's what you're going to say. But when you're all alone in your room by yourself, 10:30 p.m. this night, just please turn on your lamp and just answer that question again. Do I really love myself? Please just answer that question again, because it would open up some things that would help you really deal with the core of what the problem is, of why we're constantly looking for validation. So yes, Tijani, yes, we need support. Every single one of us, not some of us, all of us. I'm saying from Oprah Winfrey level to whatever, Barack, whoever you look at as your greater of the greatest, those people need support with feeling like they're not good enough. To the least of us, every single one of us needs support. Yes, sir. Yes. And we need someone telling us every day, you're okay, keep going, you're okay. This is normal, this is normal. Yep, keep going. Yep, this is, yep. This is
I need you.
okay. So let's talk about the six-figure playbook, because I know we've taken a lot of time now. Six-figure playbook. Let me tell you what you cannot be as a main character energy. You cannot be broke. You cannot be broke. But if you don't know what you need to do, then it's going to be a struggle. So I think I'm going to move faster on this one here. I'm going to share 5 things that have worked for me. These are not things that I've studied. These are things that have personally worked for me. Number 1, thought leadership. We just talked about going from the back of the room to the front of the room. You cannot be a person who helps people do X, Y, Z. You have to be a thought leader. Matilda said something that intrigued me, where everybody turns to you and goes, oh, what does Matilda think? That is what a thought leader does. A thought leader is asked their opinion. When you're a thought leader, you move from convincing people to be your clients to people coming to you. Guys, please stop peddling yourself as a professional, as an entrepreneur, as a this and as a that. You are a thought leader. Let me tell you who a thought leader is. My God. Let me tell you who a thought leader is. Let me tell you, actually, let me give you a definition you might like. Oh, I lost it. Let me give you a definition. Can you guys see my screen? Maybe you can't see my screen, but let me tell you who a thought leader is. A thought leader is an expert in a specific field who others in their industry turn to for guidance and information. A thought leader is considered an authority in their field. Everybody, please write the word down: authority. You're an authority in your field. And you're go-to. You're considered a go-to person for resources and expertise. Okay. Thought leaders generate and share innovative ideas, insights, and opinions to inspire and influence your industry and their community. They can be individuals or organizations, but they stand out amongst competitors. Woo, child, praise God. This is the moment where we go, hallelujah. Did you guys see that definition? That's who a thought leader is. Where are my slides? I can't see my slides now. No. Okay, there we go. That's who a thought leader is. That's who a thought leader is. It literally takes you from basic to expert. It takes you from basic to expert. It takes you from hustling to people coming to you. It takes you from, am I good, to people telling you you are good. It takes you from competing on a small level with with people who are just trying to get by and do get a side business or get a side gig to being a thought leader. Guys, a thought leader is an authority. Do you know what it takes to be a thought leader? It takes a ton of knowledge. Now, going back to Ade-Mabo's questions or thoughts at first to say, well, if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not just going to speak up and just put up my hand like that. Well, guess what? If you identify as a thought leader, you are going to know what you're doing. Why? Because you're going to do the work. Why? Because you're going to sit there and be the person whom everybody points to say, if you haven't spoken to Dr. Fisayo about wellness, I don't know what you're doing. You haven't spoken about wellness. Why? Because she's a thought leader. How do I know who a thought leader is? A thought leader is a person who has publications, magazine articles written about them. They're passionate about the stuff. That's why you cannot pick something that you say God told me to do and you're not passionate about. Because we talked about going to the extreme. We talked about going to the end. We talked about not going to the middle. Middle is for underdogs. Middle is for underdogs. We are not underdogs. If we want to be excellent and we want to do this thing well, you have to be a thought leader. That's how you stop yourself from not being basic. A thought leader. Thought leaders, people don't negotiate with thought leaders. They don't nickel and dime them. They don't ask them if they can reduce the rates to $50 to work with them. You can either afford them or you cannot. And it's okay. We don't go to thought leaders saying, oh, you remember the hair that I bought from you? I don't really like it. No, because if you haven't spoken to Ade about hair or beauty, then you haven't really started. Why? Because before the style comes out, she would have told you, this is what's going to happen in this industry in the next 2-3 years. Thought leaders are ahead of the curve. They work with the people who manufacture the things. Oh God, help me to explain this. Thought leaders are not, they're not your everyday retailer. They're not your everyday entrepreneur. Thought leaders are people you see on Forbes magazine. They're people you see online and you go, wow, ooh, you've arrived. Not because of money, but because they're excellent, because of knowledge, because they're the go-to, they're the top of their industries. Okay, they're the top 1%. They're the 1% of the 1%. So this is a challenge to you. If you want to move from underdog to center stage, you better be a thought leader. I have some ideas as to how you can be a thought leader. Maybe we don't have time to go into that right now, but I have some ideas. What ideas am I getting? Many people are thought leaders, but they don't know that they're thought leaders. If you're constantly researching in real estate, if you know the trends, you read up on all these things anyways, you see what's happening in the industry, you make predictions, you're a thought leader. Now, if I don't know that or if I'm the only one who knows you're a thought leader and the whole of Dubai doesn't know you're a thought leader, they're not coming to you. They're going to treat you like everybody else. So this is where we talked about media at first. This is where you partner up with the media to let the media know that you're a thought leader, so that the whole of the country knows who to go to when they have real estate questions. Does anybody have any questions on thought leadership? Okay, let's talk about something else then. People who have main character energy think in bundles and packages. You don't come to them to solve one problem and they let you go. Remember, they're problem solvers, they're solution providers. You don't go to McDonald's to buy fries and walk away. They're not going to let you. They're going to give you a toy, a burger, a milkshake, all the other things that you didn't ask for. They're going to give it to you and say, be on your way. You're not going to go there and just go, I want fry. Maybe you can go and say, I want a fry, but most people don't go there asking for a fry because they've made it easy for you. They put it in bundles and they've said, that's the kids package. That's the Big Mac. That's the Hungry Man. That's this bundle and that bundle. They made it easy for you to spend money. Why are you selling things in silos? Why are you not partnering up with people who are mortgage brokers, with people who are smarter than you, with people who are interior designers and interior decorators? So when someone comes to you, they have a mover. You're trying to move them, right? You're trying to buy them a house. They have a mover. Because guess what? Ade-Mabo's company offers movers, has movers that she works with. And I'm not saying you should be everything. You should be all the things. So you know that McDonald's is the biggest provider of toys in the world, and they're not a toy company. You know that, right? You know McDonald's sells more toys than Toys R Us. That's the biggest joke. McDonald's sells more toys on a daily basis than Toys R Us, and McDonald's is a food company. Let me tell you how they've done this. They've collaborated with toy people around the world and they've done that work. So I'm not saying to then have a moving company. I mean, if you want to do that, by all means do that. But here's where Ade-Mabo becomes a thought leader. She's a one-stop shop that has a moving company, that has mortgage brokers, that has realtors, that has all these different things that I need to know about housing, that breaks down mortgages and things to a 5-year-old in a way that a 5-year-old understands. So the average person is thinking, if you want to understand real estate and you haven't spoken to a demo, you have not started. That's what thought leadership is. You think in bundles, you think in packages. You don't think in silos. You don't try to provide one solution and get your client to go next door. No, you give them everything they need to solve all of your problems. That's how you can ask for big money. If you're not able to ask for big money right now, you're not solving enough problems. You're not solving enough problems.
Question, Ehi. This is very helpful, by the way. When I think of, I'm talking about my peculiar case. When I think of bringing people in, I always worry about business diversion, like someone coming to take over your client and or take over your idea or take over, And since you have some experience, you have a lot of experience in business. Maybe you've experienced something like this, or you can tell me, how does that play out? Is it
So,
best?
so Ade-Mabo, we can't even be thinking of, on that level as that's underdog energy. That's underdog energy. You think okay, so where I leave, oh no, where not where I leave, where Dara's karate classes, I don't know what's going on there, what they surveyed around the area. There's a McDonald's, there's a Burger King, across the street, there's a Wendy's, there's a Jack in the Box, all within a 1 mile radius. I'm not sure what they're all neighbors, they're looking at each other's windows like that. Now, McDonald's is not thinking on a small level like, oh, what if they go to Burger King? What if they go to Wendy's? Oh, they should go to Wendy's if they really want to go to Wendy's. McDonald's may send you to Wendy's. Why? Because you're a drop in the bucket. Why? They've put in structures and systems in such a way that McDonald's lovers know that if it's not McDonald's, it cannot be McDonald's. If it's not Wendy's, lovers know that if it's not Wendy's, what a McDonald's ill. Do you know what I mean? So they've put up such structures in a way that it's so grandiose, it's so big that we're not thinking on such a small level. And yes, when you're starting off, you have to be willing to lose some. You must be willing to lose some. I had a client recently who was working with me on a long-term project to provide mobile massages to their schools, some schools in the district and whatnot. And they did that. We had a good working relationship for a couple months and whatnot. And they started to have really good relationship with my massage therapist. And one day they accidentally mentioned to me that, oh, do you mind providing a receipt for XYZ month, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, I don't think we worked with you in that month. And it was a slip of the tongue. And the Holy Spirit said to me, yes, because they now work with your massage therapist, whether you know it or not, they now that's how the Holy Spirit revealed that to me. Now, am I worried about that one client who went away? Not really. Not really. At first, it bothered me for the first couple. I'm not gonna lie, it bothered me for the first couple of hours. I'm like, "Whoa, how dare you? How dare you go and And I have contracts and I have all the things in place. I have the structure. I have all the things, but people still do what they need to do. Now, me as a smart businesswoman, what I need to be doing is to take over. I need to be figuring out how I can completely cover base in such a way that if you're going to work with someone else, you should be very, very afraid. If you're not working with me, it should scare you to not work with me, because that person doesn't have the insurance that I have. That person doesn't have the covering that I have. That person should not be able to deliver the same level of service that I deliver. So my job is to make myself less vulnerable so that people are coming. So not just for Ade-Mabo, for everybody else who's still worried about business diversion, like if someone comes to take my clients, then you need to build a formidable system in a way that they're the ones that don't want to go. Even if you say to them, go to that next part, they're like, no, I want to stay with you. So what does that mean? It calls for more systems, more structures, more depth. I don't know if that answers your question. Is that the direction you're going? Were you going more? I don't want to be by building other things.
You answered me perfectly.
Yeah, so it's underdog energy. I'll tell you straight up, it's underdog energy to be worrying about one or two. We're talking about thousands here. We shouldn't be worrying about one or two. If you're worried about one contract that maybe is millions of dollars, I get that. But we shouldn't be worried about one client, two clients, 5 clients, even 50 clients, 100 clients. No, we should be able to build formidable systems and structures in a way that when they leave, we don't even notice that they've left. Yes, that's going to happen eventually, but I know initially doesn't happen that way. I want to be realistic. It doesn't happen initially when you're just starting off. But if you have the vision to say, this is what I eventually want to do, then you start off strong. You start off with contract. You start off with automations. You start off with systems. Yes, yes. So yes, I want us to think in bundles and packages. Stop thinking small. Thinking small is going to make you start being suspicious of everybody, start making you feel like, oh, what is this person doing? Why do you care what you're doing? Doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter really. So think holistic solutions, think packages, think providing one-stop solutions that provide more value. All right, let's talk about amplification. Oh, Tijani, you want to say something? Let's go.
Okay, yeah, again, a quick one. So I was going to talk about the thinking of not thinking in silos. What about a startup, someone who's just starting a business, and how would this person manage thinking in bundles and what did you call it?
Or else I'm gonna start having a spoonful.
Is in bundles?
Yeah, in bundles and packages.
You're just starting up and you don't have, and you're still maybe by yourself and you think, so when I say provide service and bundles and packages, I'm saying, okay, for example, let me use the company you're affiliated with. Tijani, I'm going to put you on the spot. You provide piano services to kids, right? Ultimately,
Absolutely, in coding and AI lessons.
right, okay, piano, coding, and AI. Ultimately, what would be best for you to do to make sure that people are not coming and just taking one service and going away would be, can you provide them a learning material, such as maybe books? Can you provide other things that, in a way that even if they wanted to leave you for the class, they will not leave you for the books. They will not leave you for, like, what I'm saying is, the way to make your systems formidable is to provide value. The way to provide value is to solve all of the client's problems in one sitting, in one-stop shop. So in my case, I provide massage services. I really should be thinking about providing massage oils, eventually partnering up with a company that helps you, a chiropractor, something like that. Because some of my clients will come back and say, hey, this is, and my therapist will tell me, oh, they need a chiropractor. I really should be thinking about partnering up with a chiropractor, partner up with a company that provides scented oils, partnering up with other related problems. So whenever they think about pain, whenever they think about, not pain, but whenever they think about self-care or relief, they think about me. But you're not thinking, let me go to Amazon and order the oil, and then let me come to you and do the service, and then let me go somewhere else and order the whatever else they need. I want them to think about me, and I want to solve all their problems in one sitting. That's how I make myself formidable. If you didn't want to come to me before for my oils, you come to me for the service. If you didn't want to come to me for the service, you come to me for the aftercare. If you didn't want to come to me, you come to me for something. And then that one thing you're coming to me for would force you to stay for the other 3 things. Bundles and packages. I only want a burger from McDonald's, but when I went there, I saw the Oreo drink and I just thought it would be nice to try that as well. So now they've made me spend $9.69 when I originally intended to only spend $2. Because they called it a kid's meal. And my child really wanted a toy. Yeah. Because they wanted to provide an experience for my son. So can you think about experience? Can you think about providing an experience versus providing a service? Stop providing services and products. Start providing experiences. Does that help? Alrighty.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. To amplify, get clear, and then intensify your core values, your message, your delivery. Apply pressure, as the world calls it. Apply pressure. Let me tell you what apply pressure means to me. Apply pressure means that if I am a happy-go-lucky kind of person, I'm not trying to force myself to be a serious person, because I think that serious people are going to be better or more accepted. If I'm a numbers girl, I'm a numbers girl through and through, and I'm going to show off my numbers. And people who are data driven only come to me because you're like, I love how he talks about data all the time. Her ideas are really centered around data, for example. Or if I'm a personality girl and I just want to show off lifestyle, I better be doing it all the way to the end. So figure out what it is that you do best and amplify, turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. Whatever you do, turn up the volume. if there are four personality types. My husband used to know that. Maybe he can help me. There's a dolphin, there's a, what's the other one? Urchin, there's a butterfly. These are the loud people. They're the ones that are all over social media. They share lifestyles and people are attracted to them for lifestyles. The urchins are the ones who are very data driven. They're detail oriented. They want to see every number. They want to dot every I and cross every T. They want to contract with every statement. Give them what they want. And then I don't know what the other two people are, but there's a shark. Sharks are like, show me the money. Show me the money. Don't speak to me about anything else but the money. So I'm saying whatever quadrant you fall under those four personality types, whichever one you are, stop trying to be more of a butterfly and less of a shark if you're a shark. Stop trying to be more of a data girl or numbers girl and less of something. Just figure out what it is that you do and then amplify the volume of that thing. Amplify the volume of the personality that God gave you. That's what main character energy is. Main character energy is not shy. Main character energy is not trying to be anybody else but themselves. Main character energy is going to apply pressure all the way to the max. So you're a doctor, great. Let's hear about the smarts. Talk to me in numbers. Talk to me so that the smart people can hear you and go, she's a doctor. I trust her more. I trust Dr. Fisaya more than the other wellness people. Why? Because she's showing off that side of her, showing off that personality. And if you're a lifestyle person, don't do it halfway. Don't do anything halfway. Go all the way. Show us all the way. The lifestyle. What do we eat in the morning? Show us all the way. That's what I'm saying. All right. And then number
I
four.
just remember J Hod and Jennifer Hudson, how she's using her music with her talk show. She's using it a lot. That's her thing. That's what
Exactly. So what she's doing is she's really picking on her strengths because not every talk show host can sing. Not every talk show host can sing. That's interesting that you said that. One of my pastors in one of the churches I used to go, she sings so beautifully, and then she does this joke where she, the head of the church is a man, and he preaches so well, and then she'll come online and say, at least I sing, and then she'll sing and sing, and by the time she's done singing, we'll laugh and she'll relax all of and crack us up, and we'll be like, yeah, okay, she can sing. And then she goes, I just made you relax now. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, but the guy, there's a Caucasian man, he's actually a better speaker than her. But because she sings so well, you don't even remember at the end of the end. She said it the other day. She's like, at least I can sing and Craig cannot. I'm like, yeah, that's true. So what can you do that other people cannot do? That's your competitive advantage. And then you have experience in corporate world. When you talk to your people, how can you make that an advantage for you? How can you make that a plus for you that other people do not have? Can you transfer credibility? Can you talk about the fact that people trust you because, I don't know, what are some things that you can transfer from your other life is what I'm trying to say. And we all have multiple lives, but what are some things we can transfer from our other lives to have credibility in this thing that we want people to pay attention to us on? Okay, so we talked about this already. Start local, but think mainstream. Think global, guys. Think mainstream, main character, main character, main character. Main character people do not do things mediocrely. Let me just say that again. Yes, I know we talked about not overthinking, but eventually you have to get better and better and better and better. You have to hold yourself to hold your feet to the fire. Only you does that for yourself. What level of thinking and excellence does mainstream require from you? What are your global counterparts? Who else is doing this on a global scale? On a big scale? I'm not saying to go show me someone who's doing their own thing quietly and then you want to compare yourself with her and go, but I don't have this, but I don't have a ring, but I don't have. Think global. How do they show up? How do their LinkedIn profiles look like? Some of us say that we want to be main character. We don't even have LinkedIn profiles, or we have LinkedIn profiles that don't come correct. How do they tell their stories? How can you tell your story to glorify God? How can you tell your story to put your authentication out there, to make yourself more authentic, to transfer credibility? All right, I know we're running out of time now. So think highly of yourself will be number 5. So I'm talking about 6-figure income playbook. I know this sound like things that you know and you do already, but I promise you, if you do these things in 90 days, and you're not able to double your income, you're not able to make the kind of money you said you were going to make, come and talk to me. And something is wrong. If you change your beliefs about yourself, automatically you're not going to show up the way that you show up right now. Because if you change your beliefs about yourself, you're not going to show up on social media and say, oh, I don't think anyone's paying attention. I don't think anyone's watching. No, you're just going to show up anyhow. You're just going to show up like that. But guess what? You cannot show up anyhow because guess what? You said you're going to do mainstream. So how can you show up without being excellent? Yes. And how can you show up without being excellent and without amplifying your message, without amplifying your delivery, without amplifying your core values? Or how can you show up and then not give people the right price point and not solve their problems and be worried about the fact that, oh, I think I'm trying to rip them off? How can you worry about ripping people off when you're thinking of bundles and packages, when you're thinking about being a solution provider? Because you're a thought leader. You see how it all connects? If you don't make, let me just be conservative. If you do not make $10,000 every single month doing these 5 things, there's something wrong with the formula. There's something wrong with the formula. It shouldn't take you a long time. It should not take you a long time. I just gave you an example of somebody who literally lives in a tiny little 1-bedroom, has a mud house, and she shows people her lifestyle. Why? Because God created her to be a content creator. Now, whether or not she has money is a whole nother conversation. God created her to be a content creator. She amplified her life. Guess who started being attracted to her? People who were drawn to her confidence. Wow, you're a content creator and you live in a one tiny little bedroom. You wash your clothes with your hands. Americans and Canadians and British people were amazed. They'd never seen anything like that before. They'd never seen anybody show them a day in a life of someone who lives that kind of life before. Do you see what I mean by being authentic? But what if she was waiting to have ring lights and camera and live in a mansion? Now, most of her followers are not even people that live in Nigeria necessarily. They're people that live outside the country. But that's what authenticity can do to you or do for you. Okay. So reflections and conversations. How can you show up better? How can you show up better? This is where I hold your feet to the fire. This is where we meet ourselves and we really get true and real and honest with ourselves. How can you show up better? How can you show up better? Ilo, Irenose, Temitayo, Matilda. How can you show up better? Abiola, Sonia, Dr. Fasayo, Melody, how can you show up better? And did you notice or did you observe or did you identify any gaps in what you're already not doing and just the way that you're thinking right now that you can be thinking better, that you can think better? Anybody? How can you show up better right now? What are you doing right now that you need to stop doing? And what are you not doing that you need to start doing?
Limiting my thoughts.
Limiting your thoughts. What do you mean, expatiate?
Limiting the way I think.
How do you mean?
Trying to solve something for just myself, like thinking about others, like what you say. Yeah. I think that's number one thing about, yeah, that's underdog thinking. Yeah.
Building beyond you, just not building for Team Tayo and family, but now building
Yeah.
for community.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you start doing that, you
I
realize you're not doing things the same way. Sorry, go ahead.
So the question now is, if I want to stop thinking about that, if I want to now show off, now that I have seen the thing. So my question is now that what is the next step to be able to show up better?
What do you think the next step is, Team Tayo?
To start doing something right now. What?
And solving
I have
problems,
some
solving
thoughts
big,
on this one.
solving bigger problems, solving
Yeah,
bigger problems on a
yeah.
bigger scale. But in order for, so we talk about going mainstream, but I want to just be clear to say that nobody wakes up and does anything overnight. That's why I said start global, start local, think global. Nobody wakes up and becomes anything overnight. However, you can wake up and decide and have a vision from day one that I'm not stopping here. This is what I'm creating. But in order for me to get there, I'm doing all these little differences. I think it makes a difference in the way that you show up when you know that you're creating for a global community versus creating for trying to make, I don't know, trying to make $1,000. It's different. You show up differently if you're trying to make $1,000 a month, and if you're trying to, it's not even about money. I'm just trying to make impact, and I'm trying to make, of course, millions. it matters.
I want to say something that I really believe. I also bases my experience as well. I think one thing that makes people feel like they can't do so much is just because you see yourself as very different from the person doing so much. And the
Mm,
truth is that a lot of times, even people doing so much usually come from even a worse background. I think the desire for them was stronger,
mm-hmm.
versus the knowing more than you. I think once we can remove that mindset of, oh, this person has somebody better than me. If you think about it, we're all created on a blank slate,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that succeed are not those who have rich parents. In fact, you find more when you hear of Oprah, you hear their story. You hear of Steve Jobs, they were from a garage. It's not. So that means that it's a level playing field. Officially, it's a level playing field. There's nothing. So I think knowing that would mean then doing the groundwork. And groundwork might not be something that is so breakthrough immediately, but
Yeah.
it can be something that builds up. And what is groundwork? Groundwork is literally, first of all, like we say, you trust yourself. You have a thinking capacity. You know that if A is B, B, C is D, right? And then you can add research to that. So groundwork will be you putting paper on the floor and start thinking. This is what I want to do. Okay, who do I want to reach? So and so, how can I reach them? This is where I know I can reach them. If is there any other ways to reach them? Okay, I start to check for materials to see if there's any other way to reach them, and then I add that to it. Is there anyone that is paid or is there anyone that is free?
Mm-hmm.
It's just building on that and creating and trusting that whatever you're going to create is the right thing because you're applying your sense and you're also looking out for resources. And then you can start with that and then you continue to build on that because you continue to look for more resources. When he started this training, she's done too many trainings on coaching and all that, but she still did some additional research for this one. I
Mm-hmm.
heard you say when I was doing my research for this one, I'm like, oh, you see, she continues to do research. So you continue to build on that. And that's how I see it. I think the basis is, and as you talk about it, it also informs me to say what I'm saying now. I think the foundation of this is trusting that you have sense. I have sense. I am good. I know what I'm smart. It's a level playing field. Not nobody has an edge over me.
Yeah.
And then start doing that work from ground up and building
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Definitely, you give the best summaries. Thank you. You give the best summaries. That that
Thank
is
you.
that's exactly right. And I think one thing that you said that I really loved is trusting yourself. Because if you think about it, everybody looks different. Everybody, okay, so I heard about a fashion designer who passed. I don't know if she passed this week or, but I just heard about her when she passed. I didn't really know her, but she was very famous and popular. And one thing that everybody said about her was she was very different. She was very unique. Her ideas were very different. And then the other thing everyone said about her was she was she was a woman of faith. I find that interesting because many times, maybe the same thing that would have stopped another person from going into the fashion industry is the same thing that distinguishes her in the fashion industry. No one has spoken about her, and these are all different people I see speaking about her. No one has spoken about her without referencing her faith. And everyone's like, oh, she was really loud about her faith. She was a woman of faith. She inspired everybody up till her last day. She still was telling her sister, there's nothing to fear. Like up to her last breath. That means that this is who she is on the core. So let me just say something. You don't need to change who you are on the core to be the boss in an industry. Even if historically speaking, there's not been anybody who's done it like you, who's spoken like you, who's shown up like you can still show up and add an extra flair to that industry. As long as God has put it in your heart, it means that the industry needs you too. The industry needs your angle, your perspective, your experience, your quirks, the things that irritate you, the things that you love, the things that you're passionate about. I don't know if that makes sense, but that really jumped out to me when Ade-Mabo was speaking. Trusting yourself and knowing that you are enough. You are enough. And success looks different for all of us. Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts, have any closing remarks before Elo, you want to say y'all are quiet? Okay. If y'all don't have any closing remarks, somebody was at the beginning of this conversation, I was asking myself, gosh, do you want me to just do like a webinar where I just come and talk and tell people, okay, go read a book, go do what you're doing? I could do that and I'll still have done what he told me to do. But I also wanted to give us an opportunity to know what has been on my heart lately in ways in which I can help, in which I can solve problems. So I wanted to talk to you about leading boldly. And leading boldly is what it's kind of like what we've been talking about the last hour and a half. It's basically the underdog's guide. And we defined who an underdog is, right? We said most people are underdogs. The nice girl is an underdog. If you're shy, if you're still embracing being shy, you're an underdog. If you're not making the kind of money you want to make, you're an underdog. If you're not making the kind of impact you want to make, you're an underdog. If you're still at the back of the room, still ashamed or still shy, still feeling like you're not qualified to put up your hand, you're an underdog. The Underdog's Guide to Six Figures in 90 Days. And I've really summarized it, but this is it goes deeper, especially, and I know we just kind of breezed through the journaling questions, and I was just like, I don't think folks really understand how important it is to know yourself, to appreciate yourself. Like Ade-Mabo said, I think it takes a certain level of knowing yourself and appreciating yourself to trust yourself. And it takes a level of trusting yourself, knowing that A plus B equals C plus D, because you've done it over and over again. To then putting a thing out there and saying, guys, I want you to buy into this vision. Not everybody, as fundamental as that sounds, not everybody trusts themselves. Not everybody even knows enough about themselves. Not everybody has played around with those ideas to say, guys, this is what I'm presenting to the world. This is what I want you to, this is a vision I want you to buy into. So I want to talk to you guys about leading boldly. Leading boldly is my expression and is a way that I can help people further who want to really understand how is it that I work? What are the things that are really stopping me? Because what stops Matilda is different from what stops Timita is very, believe it or not, it's very different from what stops Elo. Elo might be like, I'm a procrastinator and that's just, that's how it's always been. Matilda may be like, I'm an overthinker and that's just how it's always been. Or I just would rather just keep things on the back burner and do it when it's convenient. Or Timothy may be like, I just don't know the thing that I'm going to do that would impact nations or that would impact communities or that would span beyond me and my children, So this is my expression in ways in which I'm able to help. I offer 2 Voxer coaching sessions. I offer a digital program, a whole digital course on everything we've spoken about and more. 21 video lessons, very short, very straight to the point. You guys know me. Some of you know me, not all of you. I'm a practical, actionable person. Let's do it. Let's get the results. Let's keep it moving. It's not, let's come and sit down on one program and then take years or months or never finish it. And then you spend money, you've moved on. No. 107 journaling prompts to eliminate imposter syndrome, meaning every single day you're going to be writing. That's right. You have a journal, you're going to write. You're going to get to know yourself. You're going to get to know your limiting beliefs. You're going to get to know your strengths. You're going to get to know what makes me a good fit to be in the center stage. What has kept me in underdog mode and what makes me a good fit to be in center stage? So I want to share some real success stories, but I didn't have time to share it. But like I said, let me just put some here. And if you guys want more or you want the real video testimonies, you can go on the website and look it up. I have the client, Tolu. Tolu is very shy, conservative, introverted. She had a situation happen with her when she was growing up. And from then, she's never wanted to come out. Now, who knew that Tolu was a whiz kid, literally a whiz kid? She started off as a virtual assistant when we started working together. She's like, hey, I'm really smart. I'm really able to help people do some, put 1 or 2 things together. And the way she described herself, I had a feeling she was a serious underdog, meaning extremely overqualified, but always at the back of the room, always quiet, always, please, I don't want anyone to even know that I'm here. Now, by the grace of God, because I don't claim these testimonies or these things as mine, because it's you that did the work and it's God that helped you. Me, I was just here to hold your hand and chaperone you and hold you accountable, of course. So us maybe to build a whole learning management system, a whole tech company, guys, where she actually has employees. Now she's really smart. If you think about any problems, still has solutions to AI. She has tech solutions too. And she was able to do that with this program because we're thinking, how can you go from the back of the room to the front of the room? How can you be a thought leader? Now Tolu gives talks, and she's still working on that, and she's maybe to build her profile up to the point where you need something around the Calgary, Alberta, Canada area. Everybody knows Tolu's your go-to person. Eno has been my all-time client. Actually started supporting Eno way back before even COVID. She was a business analyst and she knew that she wanted to do something bigger than just being a business analyst or just helping people, just selling courses. To cut the very long story short, Eno is now in multi-millions. She has a whole school, business analysis school. Y'all check it out. So these are all verifiable testimonies. These are not like testimonies that don't add up. business analysis school. Go check it out. And now she's built a whole movement of women helping them learn business analysis, literally selling courses and selling programs. But she's a thought leader. She's not a course creator. She's a thought leader. Okay, get this. Thought leadership will take you from trying to peddle a $2,000 program to literally doing millions of dollars in a single year. Tombra, so I'm sharing different stories from different, angles so that we know that it can work for a tech company. It can work from a shy mom of five. Tulu has 5 kids or 4 kids. I think 4 kids. And a single. Tombra has kids. Tombra's in the UK, went from an idea to, oh my God, hey, I really want to do this. I really can do it. I've been so scared to do it, but I get it now. And now, same thing. So what do you get by being in leading boldly? I break down the psyche of why you trying so hard, and you yielding minimum results. I give you a step-by-step guide as to how to go from underpaid to 6 figures, practical actionable strategies. Again, you guys, if you worked with me before, you know that I'm all about the accountability day to day. I would hold you accountable. You would see me in your DMs every day. You see me on WhatsApp because I'm committed to it. It's something that I'm passionate about. It's not something that I do because I want a business. I have other businesses that I run, but coaching is something that even when I took a break from, I'm like, yeah, God, we need to come back here because I really do care about people moving forward. So decision time, you can either choose to do this on your own. I'm not the kind of coach that'll tell you, oh my God, if you don't work with me, you're going to go down. No, not at all. I don't believe in that. God can use anybody to get you to where you need to get to. So this is not, we don't do fear-based around here. You can either choose to say, hey, you know what, this makes sense. I want to work with you. I would love to work with you. I would love to do something together and really get serious about it. And then we do mindsets, we do accountability. You have 21 video lessons. Like I said, you have a whole journaling book, and you have, what else do you get? You get 2 Voxer coaching sessions with me. Yeah. And then you can become a mainstream thought leader. And then you move from small, doing small things, arguing with small people, looking to your left and your right when you should be creating big things. Yeah. All right. Okay, I know we've been here for a really long time, and I really do appreciate you guys being here. For real, I do. Does anybody have any questions for me before we call it? Oh, I didn't tell you guys how much it was. Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm so sorry. Where's Dennis? Where's my assistant? Dennis, where's the link? Can you post the link? Dennis, are you there? Can you post the link? Yo. Okay, so leading boldly is, I was just about to call the whole thing a day, and I hadn't even told you guys how much. Leading boldly is normally $3,000. It's $3,000, $2,997. That's how much it was last year. That's how much it was 2 years ago. That's how much it was 5 years ago. Today, however, for folks who are here, and this is not a marketing strategy. If you don't want to do it, we're still friends, it's fine. But for folks who are here and who are choosing, hey, I want to work with you, let's do it. We've agreed that we can do it for $997. I say we can do it for $997, not because it's not worth more than $3,000, because you don't go anywhere and get 2 sessions with me, 21 video lessons, and a whole journaling book for $997. I say because I want to encourage you to step out. I want to encourage you to do the thing that you've been asking God that you want to do, but you've been looking for an excuse all along. So please, if you're interested, let me know. It's $997. It's not $2,997. Today it is $997. Dennis, can you post the link? No, he's not here. I don't think Dennis is here. Okay. Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah. And if you want the link, you can just reach out to me later. I don't see Dennis on here. So if y'all are interested in grabbing Leading Boldly and working with me and getting daily accountability so you can stop talking about it and finally getting to it, it will be my utmost pleasure. Only do it if you have the release from God to do it. If you don't have the release, please don't do it. It's absolutely fine. Don't do it. Figure out what you need to do next. And if you also need counsel and advice and my perspective, I'll be happy to do that as well. All right, y'all. Was this a good session? Did y'all love being here, spending your Saturday morning with me? Y'all want to say something? Questions? Any thoughts? Give me 1 second. I'm looking for my Leading Boldly link. Okay, here it is. Okay, do you guys have any questions? Any thoughts? Yay, thank you, Ade-Mabo. It says it was an amazing session. Yay, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. That was my prayer, that somebody will walk away with something. See, one of the things about one of the things about doing things is you'd have so many obstacles on the way trying to discourage you. Let me just share my screen and just talk to you guys one-on-one. You have so many things trying to discourage you. I can't tell you guys how much we're tried to, like, we tried so many different things. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And these are all proven methodologies, things that would normally work for us, and boom, just kept getting shut down. You send out an email to 1,000 people, nobody gets the email, it's all in their spam folder. And then I think it was last week, we're like, okay, we're gonna do Instagram ads instead. Instagram is like, nope, not today. Shut down my ad account. And that was it. And I was like, okay, God, whatever. If 4 people show up, I'm gonna talk to them as though you sent me to 4,000 people. And that's what I want you to do in your own lives and in your own businesses and in your own calling. When God tells you do something, do it as though you mean business. Don't do it as if, well, there's only 5 people that showed up, so I'm not gonna do it. So hopefully you guys could be inspired by that as well, and know that even if one person shows up to the open house, still do the open house. Still do the open house. It teaches you discipline, it teaches you commitment, it teaches you how to be accountable. And as you go along, you can get wisdom so that these other hitches don't have, or glitches don't happen again. Alrighty. Okay. Any questions before we call it a day? Any questions, any thoughts, anything that you're committed to doing? If you all need the journaling questions that we shared during the session, please reach out to me as well. I'll happily give that to you. I want everyone to journal tonight before you go to bed, please. All right. Can we call it a day? Does everybody have any, is everyone good? Everyone's good? We're all good? All right. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. All 12 of you or 13 of you, however much of you came in here. I appreciate you. Thank you so, so much for spending your Saturday morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to hearing your success stories. Please reach out to me and let's talk about it. Thank you, Dr. Fasaya. Thank you to Jani. Thank you, Ade-Mabo. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Hey, thank you so
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a lovely
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
question. Good. Okay. Hello, go ahead. Hello, go ahead. Okay, it wasn't a requirement. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much. Bye.
Why is it not working? Oh, why is it not working? Bye bye.
Yeah.
Oh.